So today, last week, it came as a shock to me that we found out that Manny passed away. Manny was such a person. He was so fun to be with and fun to listen to, and he gave in very moving speeches. And I always tried to trick him up in some of his speeches, as far as the international one, traveling from one place to another. That was one of my favorite ones. But today we're going to talk about his stories, his memories, and what you remember most about Manny. So to get us going on this, Ralph, take it away.
I want to thank everyone for being here this morning. And I think Manny would be pleased at the number of people that have showed up to just talk about him. Manny was one of a kind. When we talk about unique, we really can just leave that word with Manny. Unique needs no modifier, and neither did Manny. Manny was one of those people that could rise to the occasion linguistically, whether it was prose or comedy. I've had many a comedic battle with Manny in contests, in which I always resolved, no matter who else was there, I was going to beat Manny. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to do so, even though we came to some memorable contests. The guy could make a speech about anything. I remember one of his greatest speeches was when Manny would get on with a white tuxedo coat, and he would come on and he was going to sing an aria for you. He was going to have this great operatic show. But the problem is that Manny never got to the aria. He would do everything before then, and the different parts that he would put, the different nuances that he would insert into this speech were hilarious. And he would always end up with this white coat taken off and only a little cardboard tie and front on the front of it. The rest of it, he was in his undershirt. I tell you, Manny was one of a kind. Today, I would like for those of us that knew Manny to share some brief stories with us of their encounters with him and some of the perspectives that you gained from Manny. For those of you that don't know him, just hold on, because we're going to talk about people that you have known that have made a difference in your life, mentors and communicators. So we're going to start out this soiree. Remember that the word of the day is dispatch, dispatch. And I would love for someone to put it over in chat, and I've neglected to do so, but we're going to make sure that everyone uses that word of the day. The first person that I'd like to have an expression about Manny is someone that's known him almost as long as I have. Tom, tell us your favorite Manny story in 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, Ralph. I have so many, but well, you were talking about a speech that he gave, and I remember that he explained a secret. One of his speeches, he kept getting to a certain point in the speech, and he said, and I pulled my pants up and did something else, and then he went through it all, and then I pulled my pants up. Well, the story he gave, the secret behind that was he added that to the speech that day. That was the biggest hit of the speech, and he added to that because his pants were falling down. And so he integrated it right into the speech. But I also know, in order to get the word in it, whenever I was competing against Manny, I would like to see him dispatched someplace else so that he had to miss the opportunity. But I remember that Connie and I went to dinner with him before we were supposed to go to the community players. And they set up the time at a certain restaurant, and we showed up there. We thought, well, this is way early. We don't need to be here this early. We're going to be a lot of wasted time. And the conversations between he and Ernie and us were so engrossing that we almost missed going to the play. We thought, my gosh, we better get going. And we were there like just in conversation, intrigued with conversation. And so it's particularly, as Speakers Bureau Chair, particularly disappointing to me that a person of that caliber, that kind of a person, of that much talent, 8-time district winner of various contests, more than anybody else, won't be there with us. And I was looking forward to just years and years of sharing stories with Manny and Ernie, and looking forward to hearing him go out and represent Toastmasters at various organizations. So it is with a great deal of disappointment on many levels that we have to say these words at this point, when we should have had, we deserve to have, we needed to have more years with Manny as a participant in our club and in our district and in Toastmasters and in the community. Mr. Table Toastmaster.
Well, everyone that knew Manny had really the gift of finding and sharing time with a true human being, one that transcended a lot of the rhetoric of the times and was just a person that was truly himself and very, very graceful with it. I remember one of his most memorable stories had to do around the subject of just show up. I know that someone took that to heart and really have gained a great insight about that. So, CF, can you tell me about Manny and just show up? Unmute yourself.
Oh my God, I was hoping you would call me. I look weird on this machine. Hi, everyone. I am going to tell you, if there was ever a man in my life that took my breath away whenever I walked into a room, that was Manny. Manny had a way of making my heart beat in my throat without even touching me. It was the way he had the ability to dispatch words. When Manny came into our club and he gave his speech of just show up, what many of you perhaps don't understand, or perhaps you do understand, is that Toastmasters is just not a place where we gather to have fun or learn to speak new words or give very exciting speeches about our life journey. No, no, no. Sometimes Toastmasters, your speeches, is a way to elevate someone to another level. And that's what Manny did for me when he said, just show up. See, I was going through a divorce. I was going through cancer. I was going through bankruptcy. Oh, I was going through so much. And I no longer wanted to show up. But when Manny said, all you have to do, CF, is just show up. And you just may win the prize. So anytime that I don't want to do something, anytime I feel as though I'm defeated, anytime I feel like that devil is on my tail, only thing I do is that I just keep running, you guys. Because the only thing I know what I have to do, no matter what, is do what the love of my life told me to do. And that's just to show up. Now, many of you may not know me, but my name is C.F. Hawthorne, and I love each and every one of you. And I'm glad. What the passing of Manny has really made me understand is that life is really short, you guys. And we have to love even though we want to hate. We have to take the time to just show up in each and every one's life as much as we can, because we never know. Just showing up just may save them. I love you, Manny. Just show up, you guys. Show up.
I tell you, there's wisdom in the simplest phrases, and just show up just become a model for me also. But Manny had the ability as being a librarian of being Johnny on the spot, no matter what spot he was in. He was a master at making a speech out of almost nothing. And Carmen Sandiego had nothing on Manny. Rochelle, do you remember Manny going to different places and doing different things? Can you tell us a little bit about it? You have to unmute, Rochelle.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Of course, I remember those speeches from Manny. That is where he was at his finest. He did those speeches, those impromptu, around the world, where is, Manny speeches often, and every single time it was a different speech. Every single time I truly felt like I was traveling around the world with a best friend. He had just so much knowledge because no matter what country you threw at him, he had information about it. And I don't know if all those books that he's been around all these years just absorbed into his being, but he knew that information and you just couldn't trip him up. Even if you gave him the same country, he would come up with different facts about that country. He was just so impressive. And I inspire to be as good a speaker as he was. And I just feel like I could probably come here for eons of years and never reach that, but I'm going to keep trying because he was really an inspiration to me. And now Manny has dispatched to a different place, but I'll always remember him and those great speeches. Thank you.
Some of our newer members also have some vivid memories of Manny. And even though she's been with us a couple of years now, according to our Toastmaster membership role, she's still a newbie, but she's one of our most stalwart newbies and is an educational vice president. She's just wonderful. Jeanette, what do you know and what can you tell us about Manny in your time segment here?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master. Manny was just an amazing individual. I learned so much from his stories. Who can tell you that I was able to meet Martin Luther King at some point, or I was able to travel to Texas and I learned about these other cultures, and he was just an inspirational person. I learned how he himself worked to become a better speaker, starting as a kid and becoming the person that he was. He will make a poem and a song just out of nothing, and it was not fair when he participated on table topics and evaluator because he would win both every single time just with his charm and charisma. He was just somebody that I met, and I was so thankful because it was just an amazing individual and an amazing person. And what I always remembered from him is he always wanted to make other people laugh, and he will do that to me personally. He will make me laugh and be happy because I will remember that's what you do it for other people, make them smile, and he did that for us every single time. Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Yes, you're very, very on the mark about Manny and his love for other people. It came through in every time that he spoke. You know, there are many people in the course of our life, if we're very blessed, that have influences on us that we don't realize until later that they've helped shape who we are. So I'm going to ask Michelle, do you have any such mentor in your life that so far has guided you and gave you inspiration, such as Manny?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. So Manny would definitely be there. He was really charismatic when he gave his speeches, and I was always impressed by how he used a sense of improv every time he gave a speech, but it was always something that sparked interest to the audience, and it was always informational as well. So he used education and this kind of magic into like what the world is and what anyone can see, like what anyone can get from life. So yeah, so Manny was one of those people. I feel like he can be a mentor to me, or yeah, people who want you to see the world as, you know, an interesting place. And yeah, so so Manny and just other authors or yeah, that's what I think. Thank you.
Marvel, are you leaving? So far, I was going to ask you a question if you can hang on a little bit, or have you already left? All right. Well, I know that this meeting has drawn many people, and the reason that it has drawn many people, and I'm not going to tout the superlatives of Club 797 because, of course, I'm prejudiced in that area. 797 is one of the best clubs, if not the best club. It's certainly the best club on Saturday morning. So, but I'll tell you, Anna, I know that you would just be bubbling at the froth to tell us something about Manny, so I'm going to allow you to do so right now.
Well, thank you very much, Ralph, and fellow Toastmasters, friends of Manny. I am going to show you something that I have here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Manny welcomed me into Master Motivators with the smile that you see on the screen. He had this power to make me feel good. And I know that many of us here feel the same way. It didn't matter how nervous I was about speaking, how new I was, how if I was tired, he would have a way to either say a couple words to me while we were sitting next to each other to make me laugh, or if he was called up on stage to perform. That's what he was doing. Every time he was called up, he was ready to perform for us. I believe that helped me to be a better Toastmaster, and I always with a smile, just like he was, always positive, just like he was, always encouraging, like he was, always trying to mentor someone, just like Manny was. I know that we're all here because we loved him. Many of us may be shocked that he's gone, but all those things that he taught us are going to be with us forever. And I will always remember him with this smile on his face and ready to give me a hug if I needed to. And I thank you, Manny, for everything that you taught me. Back to you, Master. Table topic master.
It's so tough to truly miss someone that you care about. Our past international director has had many distinctions. He has been with us for so many years that I used to think that Toastmasters International really should have changed their name to His International, because he has the ability to really rally all the troops that he comes in contact with. But Manny was one of his stalwarts. Gray, would you tell us some reminiscence from your own heart about Manny Urrizola?
Well, thank you for this honor, Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and friends of Manny. It's a small world, isn't it? And he reminded us of this. Because of Zoom, I would have the pleasure and the respect of knowing Manny. The first time I met him was at Club 8704, the Speakeasy Club at UCR. I mentored that club in 1991, and I visited that club, and there was Manny. And then I joined him in here in our club here. It's difficult to share about somebody who has a kindness that he wears it on his sleeve. His heart smiles at you as he, with his words, truly speaks those meanings of life, and it shows the concern for all of us. And so that's the love. And the gift that Manny has left us with is the love that we will share from within ourselves of Manny. We will remember him, and let's take his traits that we can share with so many other people and keep the spirit of Manny alive by following with the things that he shared with us and the good things he did. What a wonderful person. I never met the gentleman in person, but watching him on the square, you could see that he really cared about each one of us, and he would take a special interest in a new member in giving the best evaluation to motivate them, to have them to continue. And that comes from service before self, in the sense that he served as a Toastmaster, caring for others before himself. Always prepared, always a model. And one thing that Manny portrayed was respect, earned respect. And that just came naturally to respect him from knowing him. He will live in my heart and my memories for so long. And I mentioned him at many meetings here in the last couple of evenings as I spoke to clubs internationally. And it was easy to bring his name up because he walked the talk and he loved all of us. That's the best I can dispatch to each of you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
We've already talked about Manny's famous "Just Show Up" speech to great effect. And I'm so glad that CF brought along a guest. And that guest is just showing up, excuse me for the interruption, that guest is just showing up because of Manny. Herman, what have you learned about just showing up?
Hey, I did it today. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be back with you. This is a solemn occasion, but a joyful one, because Manny really impressed me. When I first saw him in a speech, I was competing against him in luck, and of course, you know I lost. This guy had a unique ability to come up with things that I wished I could say. And I think I was talking with CF prior to the meeting, and I said to her, if Manny was a black man, he'd have been a hell of a rapper. I often thought,
buddy.
he must have had an aide that he would dispatch to go get rhymes and terms and things to come up with, because I know whatever he rhymed had just been said, so he didn't have time to prepare it. He couldn't have thought on it last night. He didn't know. So he had that unique ability. Often we meet people that they do things or say things that you like or you wish you had the courage to say. And Manny was that guy for me. And I would surely miss him forever. He had a unique ability to say it with a smile. And I honestly believe he meant that when he said, just show up. Well, guys, I won't be every Saturday, but I'll just show up. See ya.
Yes, Herman, he reminds me a lot of you, and you remind me a lot of him in Microcosm, because I remember your famous thing is just fake it till you make it. And I don't know if that has anything with showing up, but I tell you, it certainly has a ring to it. Speaking of ringing, and we don't want to hog the show, all of us seasoned Toastmasters. There is a man that came into Toastmasters like gangbusters, and he has never relinquished that pace. But I would want to know the insight about someone like Manny from Ryan. Ryan, tell me what you think.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I really do miss Manny. When I got the news about his passing through the email, I was on the phone with somebody and I just cussed. I was like, what? I really didn't see that coming. I don't think any of us did. The thing with me that I really loved about Manny is he helped me to he really like encouraged me to get my qualified speaker title for the Inland Empire Speakers Bureau. He really encouraged me. We were at a TLI meeting March 2017, so 4 years ago, and I attempted once and I lost, but I was getting ready for my second time, and Manny and I just had this conversation, this one-on-one conversation, and when he looked in your eyes, he just said, like, hey, like, you got this, just attempt again, just show up. And we were actually in a classroom together, and Tom Jameson was leading this workshop about what the Speakers Bureau is all about and why you should become it. And so I said that I want to become it because I want to be the youngest dude against all you old folks. And then everyone just started like laughing. Some of them just, their jaws dropped. But Manny, right after that workshop, he just looked into my eyes and he was like, that's what I want. And it was a beautiful moment. Like, we were just looking to each other's eyes in such a powerful way, and it really made such an impact on me. And if it weren't for him, I don't think I would have figured out the barista speech that I did back in 2019. So if it weren't for not just Manny, but for Tom Jameson, Ralph Rivers, people that are outside this club like Mark Benclear, Jose Perciato, Jeremiah Lyle, so many different names of people I look up to in Toastmasters. They poured into my cup, each one of them. And here I am today. Thank you, guys.
I know that this Toastmasters may seem, this table topics per se, may seem like a lot of tributes to one person that sometimes we wonder what we mean in life. We wonder who we are in the great scheme of things. I hope that Manny is somewhere and his partner Ernie, listening to what impact he's had on so many lives. Barbara, I don't know whether you knew Manny, but I see you as a guest, and we always give our guests time to express themselves if they would so choose. So if you knew Manny or if you knew a mentor, please tell us a little bit about it, and we'd appreciate that, Barbara.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends of Manny. I did know Manny. I had the great good fortune to get to know him in Master Motivators, a club that we both belong to. And I remember many of the things, that one of the reasons I've been smiling throughout what everybody has been sharing, because his generous spirit, his wonderful sense of humor, his ability to bring a smile to everyone's face and have them feel supported. I experienced all those things too. Over the years, we frequently were evaluation speech contest friendly competitors. And I always felt that his support was there, even when we were competing against each other. One example of how much I felt like his generous spirit played out was I was in the legacy program trying to do a dramatic reading, which was very much out of my comfort zone. I had always shied away from anything theatrical, and this was something I was really going to have to stretch to do. Well, he offered to kind of mentor me through a couple of those projects, and he spent time sending me different selections of readings that I could do, and offered ways that I could maybe get over my nervousness. And I so valued, he asked to be my evaluator when I actually did it in front of the club. And it was one of the speeches I was very, very nervous about. And he was just so kind and so detailed and accurate in his feedback that I felt uplifted, and was just one example of a way that he impacted my life. And I can tell that he has impacted all of your lives too. I just was shocked when I heard that he passed, and I will deeply miss him. Mr. Table Topics Master.
In a poem that I love to recite, there's a line that says there are men that somehow just grip your eyes and hold them hard like a spell. And when Manny spoke, that's what happened to the listener, the observer. And you had to be in the moment with Manny because Manny would take you there. Monica, I don't know if I've called on you before, but I would like to hear you tell us about either some Manny reminiscences or maybe somebody that you've already been inspired from that is making your life a better one.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. I'm Monica. I joined the club back during this past summer, so I'm a very new member. But I have had the opportunity to hear Manny speak, and he has evaluated me as well. So today I would like to dispatch honor to Manny because there's a saying that says, you may not remember what somebody said or what somebody did, but you will remember how they made you feel. And so I remember him evaluating me after I said a speech. And like all of these people are saying, he always made you feel so encouraged, so uplifted. And every single person that he spoke to, he made each person feel like they were a special person and that they had so much to offer. So I'm sad that I can't even actually remember the words that he told me, but I just remember that whatever he told me, I felt encouraged and empowered. And he was just an amazing person, and just the joy that he carried. And even when he did his speeches, he did it could be the smallest little detail, but he made even the smallest little detail seem like it was a grand experience. And he was always so grand with his speeches, with, you know, his gestures and just like how he made everything seem like it was just a big experience, no matter whether it was a small conversation he had with someone or meeting someone for the first time, or, you know what I mean, a conversation he had with a stranger. He just made it seem like it was just the biggest thing in the world. And he caught your eyes, he mesmerized the audience, and he caught your attention to want to continue to listen to what he had to say. So today I just want to honor Manny. That's actually why I came here. I have to go soon, but I really just wanted to say that about him.
There are many things that we look forward to in life. Children, family, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. But what we all should realize is that we're here and we're enjoying life because other people are here with us. Some people have more of an impact on our lives than we ever really know. We have to sit down and contemplate what it meant to be in their presence. So I'm going to end our table topic session with a person that I highly respect in the way that she's able to put together so many thoughts and organize them into an epitome of knowledge and understanding. Connie, you have the final honors of telling us about Manny Urrizola.
Thank you, Ralph. Fellow Toastmasters, it stated earlier how Manny was able to take us all around the world with his knowledge of different countries. And I was reminded of that special district event in which we asked people from all different backgrounds, all different countries of origin to come and share. And then to bring everything together, I asked Manny if he would do so with his talents. And I referred to it as it's a small world. Now, only Manny would come and begin with singing to us all. It's a small world after all. I thought about that. It's a small world. And if we were only able to have more people like Manny come and share, and as has been said this morning, support one another, encourage one another, it would be indeed a smaller world, because Manny was a person with great joy, caring, enthusiasm, and love for his fellow Toastmasters. The greatest honor I think we could do for Manny would be to dispatch these same qualities, these same feelings, these same emotions to others, and help to, as Manny would say, make it a more small world, a more caring, loving world. We love you, Manny, and may we be just a little bit more like you as we travel forth. Mr. Topics Master.
Well,
I just wanted to say that I knew Manny. I've only been with you guys for a little short, shy of 3 months, and he made a great impact in me in that short time, as all of you have to myself. And it really impacted me as much as it did for all of you. And I think it's because when a great person with such a great personality, you meet them for the first time and they have such a great impact, you know they are a great person. And I am so sad that we were so close to meeting in person, and I never got the opportunity to meet him. But I thank God that I did have the pleasure to meet him through Zoom and here meeting all of you guys. And so I count that as a blessing. And so Manny I have named him my spiritual guide, vocal spiritual guide, so that he can help me. He gave me an evaluation, and just as everybody else said, he uplifted me. He gave me encouragement to keep trying and to keep doing good in such a beautiful way that is very impactful. So I thank each and every single one of you, and I thank him. May he rest in peace.
Hey, Rob, I just want to give a shout out to our Division C Director, Manny Musa, for being here today. It's so good to see you here and to support Manny's and his thoughts. Musa, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Actually, I could say also a few things about Manny. Manny is in my club, Speakeasy. I'm part of the club. First person I met from that club was Manny. Actually, he was wearing his bow tie and his suspender. And I kept telling him, what's up with the bow tie, you know? But he looks good. He looks good. So to make everything easy for the foreigners like you guys, I gave my name as Moses. And there was another Moses in that club. And he came to me and said, I don't know, your name is not Moses, but tell me your real name. I told him it means Moses, it's Musa. He said, Musa is better. So they have to change my name tag back again. I gave him a Moses, but they changed it to Musa. From there, we clicked actually with Manny. For the QS, I was searching how to become a QS. And then they told me, you need a mentor. The first person in my mind was, I need a mentor from Manny. So I met Manny and said, Manny, I want you to be my mentor. And he said, well, it's good to be your mentor, but he knew that I could do the speech, but that's not what he wants me to do. He said, I want you to write your speech. It's a 17-minute speech, word by word, you need to write it. And I said, come on, Manny, it's just like a speech. I could give it up. He said, no, I want you to write it word by word. And I said, what kind of mentor are you? He pulled me back and he said, listen, I want you to remember your speech well. During that time, you don't have to remember the speech because you already know it. What you need to worry at that time is how to deliver it. So I want you to prepare ahead of time. Actually, that was very good. But you know what? For us, speaking is easy. So writing was like a big difficult. I haven't even done it, and I miss Manny now. Anyway, I pray for his soul. I pray God to give him the highest heaven. And I also pray for his people around, his supporters and friends, to give him strength. But Bani will be totally, totally missed. I'm always happy to come to this club. I learn a bunch of good guys. I learn a lot, and Mani will be missed by all. Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
Bond, I know you already talked a little bit today, but we'll give you 2 minutes to talk about Manny.
Thank you. I just want to quickly mention that this morning we all talk about Manny's the signature speech, show up, and another one is the world traveler. But how I got to know Manny was the first time I heard about his speech was at a district training session about the contest. He was doing a demo for either a tip topic, a contest, or an evaluation. He was on the stage. That is the first moment I saw him, was doing a table topic called, are you a cat person or dog person? I was totally blown away. That's the first time if I was able to build some foundation about the public speaking. I think that was one of the moments I really came up with some foundation about public speech. I was just blown away. I was like, wow, a speech can be delivered this way. Every words, he could bring up some smiles. The way he delivered can be so humorous. And it's so funny. That is how I really met him and remembered him. I'm sure now he dispatched to the other world. I think he will continue to motivate people there and bring smiles over there. That is my thought about Manny. Thank you.
Ralph, you can go ahead and ask some people.
Kareem, I know that as a Toastmaster and a person that to me is a serious scholar of communications, what do you best remember about Manny and his impact on your own speaking ability?
Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, Manny was a true leader, somebody who hits the ground running, somebody who liked winning and liked to make everybody wins. Manny met me in my second coming to the Toastmaster, when I was adopted mainly by Tom, and Tom, he did nothing short of support and greatness. But the first time I saw Manny, he took me like a very dear friend. He's so warm, so knowledgeable, and he started to make me feel familiar. I was so hesitant and so worried because my language ability was so weak and fragile, even my self-confidence. He uplifted me in such a way nobody could have done it. And he was so talented. The best speech I attended for him, it was evaluation for Diane. Diane made a very great speech. He took her speech and he commented as if he analyzed every word, as he knew the speech, and he followed with such a comment that doesn't come except from Manny. It's a great loss for all of us. I give condolences to all of us. I know that many memories will continue for years to come, and I wish he rest in peace. Thank you, everybody.
Maya, you have been someone that really has been an organizer. This is the first time I know of that someone came to Toastmasters and brought their entire family. And all of you are great communicators. Did you learn anything from Manny in this regard?
Thank you, Master Table Topics Master. Yeah, I actually, when we found out that Manny passed, I was sitting here and BJ was sitting with me and he just started crying. That's how, we haven't even known Manny hardly at all, but that's the impact that Manny had just in such a short amount of time. And I actually wrote this in remembrance of Manny Urrizola, an acrostic composition. It just, it's made out of his name. So M is for memorable. Manny was somebody that made a huge impression on me the very first time I met him. His quick wit and ability to navigate the English language with such ease made me very excited to get to know him better. A is for airplane. From the last speech that I heard, which was the one around the world, Manny seemed like someone who loved to travel, if not physically, then also in his mind. He dispatched an impressive amount of knowledge about many countries around the world. N is for nice. Manny was a really nice guy. He was always friendly and in good spirits. And N is also for naturally inquisitive. One could tell from Manny's breadth of knowledge that he was a lifelong learner. I think that I remember hearing he was a librarian. So he had all these books to his disposal. He was somebody who was curious about the world around him. And Y is for youthful. Manny was young at heart. He was somebody who seemed very playful, always with a wink in his eye, and enjoying life to the fullest and having fun every step of the way. So those were some of my impressions of Manny, and I will miss him so much. And I'm grateful to be a part of this group and to get to know all of you. And I'll say that for my whole family. So thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Someone that really knows how to well command and put people in their paces comes with her own whip. But today, I would love for Deanne to tell us her impressions of Manny at this particular moment.
Sure. Thank you, Ralph. Could you repeat the question? Sorry, I was jockeying for position over here.
What are your most vivid impressions of Manny, particularly at this moment in time?
Well, I must say that the news of his passing, it was, just such a shock, in this past year. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have, passed away and so forth that, I certainly feel for, but this was just so surprising and such a loss. I mean, it was kind of that feeling of a vacuum suddenly being there. And I think some of the things that impressed me most about Manny were he had a way of doing a turn of phrase and adding a little bit of, more drama, musical theater sometimes even, to whatever he would present that just made it that much more not only memorable, but I think fun, and added fun to the learning environment that we have in Toastmasters. And another thing that really strikes me is that, the trick he would do with the, where in the world is Carmen, whatever last name he gave her, is not even just the fact that he knew all these facts, but it really highlighted to me how many more countries there are than what we really talk about on a normal basis, because all of us were trying to find the most obscure countries we possibly could, always thinking that we could trip Manny up and it wouldn't be one that he already knew plenty about. And so, I have spent more time looking at, maps and globes and things like that to, where are all these little countries? And I just very recently hired somebody from, I've always said it Tanzania, but that's actually not the way he says it. It's like Tanzania, I think is how my new employee states it. But that's something that I before wouldn't even have realized was a country. But in having Manny play that game so many times, really learned a lot of these other little ones that otherwise wouldn't come to my attention. So he will certainly be missed. He was just such a vivid person, and energy, that came off of him. It wasn't just his energy level, but, the charisma that Manny always did everything. It was just the way he was, one of those people that really light up the room. So those are my memories, Manny.
I'm going to have to go, but I want to make sure that I've got everyone that would love to speak about Manny or some other memorable mentor to speak. Greg? Unmute, Greg.
Well, I sure have problems with that mute button. I must be missing the target. I just want to share with you that I'm going to donate to the Rouse C. Medley Fund in the name of Manny, in his memory. So he will be in World Headquarters wall. His name will be there for all to see in the future. And it's going to be my honor to do this, to share and have his name there for the rest of us to see. So I would hope that you can add not just my name, but Club 797 and 8704, which is the club I mentored and started years ago, to that there, to let them know that we cared about him and the impact that he shared with us, not just with us, but it will be there for Toastmasters to all see.
My favorite Toastmasters club, my favorite visitors. Today we paid small homage to a great man, a person that was a legend in his own time. Manny's been dispatched to a place now where we have yet to go. But I'm of the mind that wherever he is, someone special has granted him a golden gavel in which he will be a Toastmaster forever.